You are about to get practical tools that change how you act each day. This audiobook gives step-by-step methods for sharpening focus, building reliable routines, and moving toward real goals. You will learn simple daily practices for managing stress, improving decision-making, and keeping momentum when motivation fades. Each chapter includes short exercises you can use right away and return to whenever you need support. Expect clear explanations, honest advice, and methods that produce steady progress rather than fast promises. You may feel your breath slow during a calming exercise or notice sharper thinking after a brief reflection. Some exercises will be uncomfortable at first, and that discomfort shows where growth is happening. Follow the actions and you will see small wins pile up into meaningful change. Treat the practices as you listen, so the ideas become habits you can rely on. By the end, you will have a practical plan to turn intention into measurable results and steady confidence. Chapter 1. Rewire daily thoughts to build limitless belief and focus. Every change in life begins quietly inside the mind. Before habits shift, before actions improve, before results appear in the real world, there is always a thought that takes root. Most people never notice this process. They wake up, move through their day, react to events, repeat the same inner talk, and wonder why nothing truly changes. The truth is simple and uncomfortable at the same time. The quality of daily thoughts shapes the limits a person lives within. If the mind stays trained on doubt, distraction, and fear, life follows that path. If the mind is trained toward clarity, belief, and focus, life begins to expand in ways that once felt impossible. Rewiring daily thoughts is not about forcing positive feelings or pretending everything is fine. It is about training attention and judgment. Stoic thinkers understood this clearly. They believed that events themselves are neutral and that the mind decides what they mean. Two people can face the same challenge and experience entirely different lives because their thoughts shape their response. This chapter is about taking back that power, not through hype or empty motivation, but through calm awareness and disciplined practice. Every day begins with a stream of thoughts that arrive without invitation. Some are useful, many are not. The mind often repeats old patterns learned from past experiences, criticism, fear, or failure. These thoughts feel familiar, so they go unquestioned. Over time, familiarity turns into belief. Belief turns into behavior. Behavior turns into identity. The key to becoming limitless is breaking this chain at the first link. That link is the daily thought. A limitless belief is not the belief that everything will be easy. It is the belief that effort matters, learning is possible, and improvement is always within reach. Focus is not about constant intensity. It is about choosing where attention rests instead of allowing it to scatter. Both belief and focus are skills. Skills can be trained. The first step is noticing thoughts instead of obeying them. Most people confuse thoughts with truth. A thought says, "This is too hard," and the body reacts as if it were a fact. A thought says, "I always fail," and the day begins to collapse. Awareness creates space. When a thought appears, pause for a moment and observe it. Ask one quiet question internally. Is this useful right now? Not whether it feels true, not whether it sounds convincing, only whether it helps forward movement. This simple pause changes everything. It shifts the mind from automatic reaction to conscious choice. Stoic discipline begins here. Thoughts are not enemies. They are signals. Some guide action, others reveal fear. When a thought does not support effort or learning, it does not deserve control over behavior. A practical way to train this awareness is through short daily check-ins. 3 times a day, pause for 30 seconds. Notice what the mind is focused on. Is it worrying about the future? Is it replaying the past? Is it scattered across tasks? Gently bring it back to the present action. This practice builds focus without strain. Over time, the mind learns that attention has a home. Belief is built the same way focus is built, through repetition of chosen thoughts, followed by action. Empty affirmations do not work because the mind rejects statements that feel disconnected from reality. Belief grows when thoughts are grounded in effort and evidence. Replace absolute negative thoughts with grounded statements. Instead of thinking I cannot do this, train the mind to think I am learning how to do this. Instead of thinking I always fail, shift to I am improving with each attempt. These thoughts do not deny difficulty. They acknowledge progress. Daily language matters. The words used silently shape emotional response. Harsh, inner talk drains energy and narrows vision. Calm, firm language steadies the mind. Speak internally as a disciplined mentor would. Clear, direct, honest. When a mistake happens, the response should be corrective, not condemning. Identify what went wrong, adjust behavior, move forward. Focus suffers when the mind is overloaded. Modern life encourages constant stimulation. Notifications pull attention. Noise fills empty moments. Focus must be protected intentionally. Choose specific times of day to remove distractions. Even short, focused periods create momentum. During these periods, commit to one task, no switching, no checking. The mind resists at first. That resistance is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of training, beginning. Another powerful practice is thought priming at the start of the day. Before engaging with the world, set a mental direction. Choose one quality to carry through the day. Calm, patience, effort, clarity. Repeat it internally. When challenges arise, return to that word. This anchors focus and reduces emotional reactivity. Belief also grows through keeping promises to oneself. The mind watches behavior closely. When promises are broken, trust erodes. When small promises are kept, belief strengthens. Start small. Commit to a short daily practice. 5 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of movement, one focused task. Complete it regardless of mood. Each completed action sends a message. I do what I decide to do. This message builds confidence more effectively than any speech. The Stoic approach emphasizes control over what can be controlled. Thoughts fall into this category more than most people realize. External events cannot be controlled. Internal response can. Each time attention is redirected intentionally, mental strength increases. This is similar to physical training. Small repetitions build lasting strength. Many people believe they lack focus, when in reality they lack clarity, when goals are vague. Attention drifts. Begin each day by identifying the single most important task. Not the easiest, not the most urgent, the one that moves life forward. Write it down, return to it when the mind wanders. Focus improves when purpose is clear. Fear often hides beneath scattered thinking. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. Fear thrives in vague thoughts. It weakens when brought into the open. Name the fear calmly. What exactly is being avoided? What is the realistic outcome? Most fears lose power when examined without emotion. This examination strengthens belief in one's ability to face discomfort. Mental clutter also comes from unprocessed experiences. Set aside time each evening to unload thoughts onto paper. Write freely, no structure, no editing. This clears space. The mind rests better when it is not carrying unresolved loops. Sleep improves. Focus sharpens the next day. Limitless belief is not about expecting constant success. It is about trusting the ability to respond wisely regardless of outcome. This belief is built through reflection. At the end of each day, review actions calmly. What went well? What needs adjustment? No judgment. Only learning. This daily review trains the mind to see progress instead of failure. Discipline in thought leads to discipline in action. When the mind learns to stay present, tasks become manageable. Overwhelm decreases, energy increases. The mind stops jumping ahead to imagine problems and stays with what can be done now. Environment influences thought patterns. Clean spaces support clear thinking, reduce visual clutter. Arrange work areas. Simply order outside supports order inside. This is not about perfection, it is about reducing friction. Another practical method is limiting information intake. Constant news and social comparison drain focus and distort belief. Choose specific times for information. Avoid starting and ending the day with input. Silence creates space for clarity. Belief strengthens when challenges are reframed as training. Each difficulty becomes an opportunity to practice patience, focus, or courage. This mindset does not deny discomfort. It assigns meaning to effort. Daily movement supports mental clarity. The body and mind are connected. A short walk clears thought loops. Physical exertion releases tension. This makes focus easier. Nutrition and hydration affect thinking more than most realize. Low energy leads to negative thoughts. Support the body to support the mind. Simple, consistent choices matter more than extremes. The mind also learns through visualization, grounded in reality. Spend a few minutes imagining successful completion of a task. Focus on actions, not outcomes. See the steps, feel the effort. This gratitude practice daily shifts attention toward what is working. This does not ignore problems. It balances perspective. Each day identify 3 things done well. This trains belief in capability. One of the most powerful practices is choosing silence before reaction. When emotion rises, pause, breathe slowly, count breaths. This space prevents regretful words and actions. Over time, emotional control becomes natural. Limitless belief grows from consistency, not intensity. Daily small practices compound. The mind adapts to what is repeated. Choose practices carefully. There will be days when focus feels weak and belief feels distant. This does not mean progress is lost. It means training continues. Stoic resilience teaches persistence without complaint. Show up, perform the practice. Results follow in time. The mind respects effort even when motivation is low. Each disciplined action builds trust. That trust becomes belief. As days pass, thought patterns shift subtly. Doubt appears less often. Focus lasts longer. Confidence feels quieter but stronger. This is real progress. Rewiring daily thoughts is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong practice, but it becomes easier. The mind learns new defaults. Calm replaces chaos. Clarity replaces confusion. In the end, becoming limitless is not about removing all limits. It is about removing self-imposed limits created by unexamined thoughts. When attention is trained and belief is grounded in action, goals stop feeling distant. They become processes. Processes become habits. Habits shape life. Each day offers a new chance to train the mind. Not through force, through patience and discipline. Choose thoughts carefully. Direct focus, intention. Trust the process of daily effort. Over time, the mind becomes a reliable ally rather than an obstacle. This chapter is an invitation to begin that training today. Not tomorrow, not when conditions improve. Begin with awareness, continue with practice, persist with discipline. The mind will follow where attention leads. When guided wisely, it opens paths that once felt closed. Chapter 2. Define clear goals. Then design systems you practice daily. Most people struggle not because they lack desire, but because their effort has no structure. They want better health, stronger focus, more income, or inner peace. Yet their days are guided by habits they never chose. Goals stay in the mind as wishes, while daily actions move in another direction. This gap is where frustration grows. The solution is not stronger motivation. The solution is clarity followed by systems that quietly guide behavior every day. A clear goal is not a vague hope. It is a specific direction that tells the mind where effort should go. Without clarity, the brain wastes energy deciding what matters. With clarity, decision-making becomes easier. The first discipline is learning how to define goals that guide action instead of creating pressure. A useful goal answers 3 simple questions internally. What exactly do I want to improve? Why does this matter to my life? How will I know I am making progress? When these answers are honest and specific, the mind settles, confusion fades, focus sharpens. Many people set goals based on comparison. They see others succeed and borrow those desires without reflection. This creates resistance because the goal does not align with personal values. A Stoic approach demands self-honesty. Choose goals that strengthen character, capability, or stability. External rewards may come, but the goal itself should be within personal control. For example, improving skill, consistency, or discipline is more reliable than chasing recognition. Once a goal is defined clearly, the next step is more important than the goal itself. That step is designing a system. A system is a set of daily actions that make progress inevitable, regardless of mood. Goals point to a destination. Systems move the feet. Without systems, goals depend on willpower. Willpower fades. Systems remain. A daily system should be simple enough to follow on difficult days. Complexity creates excuses. Choose actions that are small, but meaningful. If the goal is better physical health, the system might be a daily walk and simple meals. If the goal is learning, the system might be reading 10 pages and writing one insight. The power lies in repetition. When actions repeat, progress compounds quietly. Systems remove the need for constant decision-making. When an action is scheduled, there is no debate. This reduces mental fatigue. The mind conserves energy for execution rather than negotiation. Over time, systems become automatic. Automatic behavior shapes identity. One common mistake is trying to change everything at once. This overwhelms the system and leads to collapse. Change should be layered. Begin with one goal. Build one system. Allow it to stabilize, only then add another. This patience prevents burnout and builds confidence. Daily practice must be protected. Distractions and interruptions will appear. Prepare for them in advance. Choose specific times and environments for your system. A consistent location and schedule. Cue the brain to enter action mode. This reduces resistance. Tracking progress is part of the system, not to judge, but to observe. Simple tracking keeps attention engaged. A check mark on a calendar or a short note is enough. Seeing consistency builds momentum. Missing a day is not failure. Failing to return is the problem. Systems allow recovery without drama. Another essential principle is separating outcome from effort. The system focuses on effort. Outcomes follow when effort is consistent. This prevents emotional swings. When the focus stays on daily practice, external results lose power over mood. Design systems that fit real life. Consider energy levels. Morning routines work for some. Evening routines work for others. The best system is the one that survives stress. Test and adjust without self-criticism. Remove friction that blocks the system. Prepare tools in advance. Lay out clothes. Keep books visible. Reduce steps between intention and action. At the same time, add friction to habits that oppose the goal. This environmental design guides behavior. Without force, rest is part of the system. Without recovery, consistency breaks. Schedule rest intentionally. This maintains long-term discipline. Systems also benefit from clear boundaries. Decide when work ends. Decide when practice begins. Boundaries reduce mental clutter and improve focus during action. Accountability strengthens systems. This can be internal or external. Writing a daily commitment reinforces intention. Sharing progress with a trusted person increases follow-through. Accountability should support effort, not create pressure. When resistance appears, examine the system, not the character. Resistance often signals that the system is too demanding or unclear. Adjust the size of the action. Reduce it until consistency returns. Small actions performed daily outperform. Large actions performed occasionally. Emotion should not dictate practice. Some days enthusiasm will be present. Other days it will not. Systems operate independently of feeling. This neutrality builds discipline. The Stoic view values process over excitement. Show up, perform the task. Accept discomfort calmly. This builds inner strength as weeks pass. Systems shape identity. The person who practices daily begins to see themselves differently. Confidence grows quietly. This confidence is grounded because it is based on evidence. Systems also create freedom. When habits are automated, mental space opens for creativity and reflection. Life feels less chaotic. Review systems periodically. Ask whether they still serve the goal. Adjust as circumstances change. Flexibility keeps systems alive. Avoid attaching self-worth to performance. The purpose of systems is growth, not perfection. Missed days happen. Resume without punishment. Over time, systems make goals almost inevitable. Progress becomes predictable. This reduces anxiety and increases trust in the process. Defining goals and designing systems is an act of self-respect. It signals commitment to growth. It replaces hope with structure. Each day offers a chance to practice the system. Each practice reinforces this cycle, strengthens discipline and clarity. In the long run, systems shape destiny more than goals. Goals inspire direction. Systems deliver results. Choose one goal. Design one system. Begin today. Let repetition do the heavy lifting. Through quiet daily practice, life changes steadily and sustainably. Chapter 3. Strengthen discipline through small actions, repeated every single day. Discipline is often misunderstood as force or restriction, but in truth it is a quiet agreement you make with yourself and honor every day. It is not built through dramatic effort or sudden change. It grows through small actions done consistently, even when no one is watching and nothing feels exciting. People admire discipline because it looks powerful from the outside, yet the real work happens in moments that seem ordinary. This chapter is about training that inner muscle patiently, using small actions repeated every single day until discipline becomes part of who you are. Most people wait for discipline to appear before they act. They believe motivation must come first. This belief keeps them stuck. Discipline does not arrive fully formed. It is created through action. When you take a small step, despite discomfort, discipline grows. When you repeat that step tomorrow, it strengthens over time. The mind learns that action is non-negotiable. Motivation then follows discipline, not the other way around. Small actions matter because they lower resistance. The mind resists big changes because they feel threatening. A small action feels manageable. It does not demand confidence or certainty. It only requires willingness. When the action is small enough, excuses lose their power. This is how consistency begins. Choose actions that are easy to start but meaningful enough to matter. 5 minutes of focused work, 1 page of reading, a short walk, writing a single sentence. These actions may seem insignificant, yet their value lies in repetition. Each time the action is completed, the mind records a success. These records accumulate and reshape self-perception. Discipline is strengthened when actions are tied to identity. Instead of saying, "I will try to do this," say, "This is what I do daily." Identity-based discipline feels calmer. It removes negotiation. The action becomes a normal part of the day, rather than a special effort. The Stoic mindset teaches mastery over impulse. Impulses change constantly. Discipline remains steady. When you choose a small action and perform it regardless of mood, you practice this mastery. The mind learns that feelings do not control behavior. This lesson transfers into every area of life. Repetition trains the nervous system. The body adapts to routine. What once felt difficult becomes familiar. Familiar actions require less energy. This frees mental resources and reduces fatigue. Discipline then feels lighter, not heavier. Consistency depends on environment. Place reminders where they are visible. Keep tools accessible. Remove barriers that delay action. A prepared environment supports discipline quietly. This reduces reliance on willpower. Discipline also requires self-honesty. Choose actions you can realistically perform daily. Overcommitment weakens trust. When promises are broken repeatedly, discipline erodes. It is better to commit to less and succeed than to aim high and quit. Time matters less than frequency. Daily repetition builds rhythm. Rhythm builds momentum. Even brief actions performed daily create stronger discipline than occasional long sessions. Discomfort will appear. This is natural. Discipline is the skill of moving forward calmly despite discomfort. Do not dramatize resistance. Notice it, act anyway. This simple response trains resilience. Self-talk during practice matters. Avoid harsh judgment. Discipline grows in a supportive inner climate. Speak firmly but respectfully to yourself. Acknowledge effort. Correct mistakes without insult. Tracking small actions reinforces discipline. Marking completion creates a visual record of consistency. This record becomes evidence of reliability. Evidence strengthens confidence. There will be days when action is missed. Discipline is not broken by a single miss. It is broken by quitting. Resume the next day without explanation or punishment. This response preserves momentum. Discipline is strengthened by starting before you feel ready. Readiness is unreliable. Action is reliable. Begin first. Feelings adjust later. Morning routines often support discipline because decision fatigue is lower. However, the best time is the time you can protect consistently. Choose what fits your life. Link new actions to existing habits. This reduces effort. For example, practice after waking or after meals. The existing habit becomes a cue. Avoid rewarding yourself for discipline. Discipline is its own reward. External rewards can weaken intrinsic commitment. Satisfaction comes from knowing you kept your word. Rest supports discipline. Exhaustion undermines consistency. Balance effort with recovery. Sustainable discipline respects limits. Discipline also grows through reflection. Briefly note what worked and what did not. Adjust actions to maintain consistency. As weeks pass, small actions compound. The mind begins to trust itself. This trust changes behavior naturally. Larger challenges feel manageable because discipline has been practiced in small ways. Discipline does not eliminate struggle. It changes your response to struggle. Instead of avoiding effort, you meet it with calm persistence. The goal is not perfection. The goal is reliability. Show up consistently. Perform the small action. Let repetition build strength. In time, discipline becomes part of identity. You act because it is who you are. This identity supports growth across all areas of life. Every small action is a vote for the person you are becoming. Cast that vote daily. Discipline will follow. Chapter 4. Train emotional control to stay calm during pressure moments. Pressure reveals what training has already built inside a person. In calm moments, emotional control feels easy and almost unnecessary. When pressure arrives, when something important is at stake, when time is limited or expectations are high, the mind reacts fast and often without permission. Heart rate rises. Thoughts rush. Words escape too quickly. Actions become rushed or frozen. Emotional control is not about suppressing feelings or becoming cold. It is about learning how to stay steady when the inner storm appears so decisions remain clear and behavior stays aligned with values. Many people believe emotional control is a personality trait. They think some people are naturally calm and others are simply reactive. This belief removes responsibility and blocks growth. Emotional control is a skill. Skills improve through awareness and practice. Pressure moments are not enemies. They are training grounds. Emotions themselves are not the problem. They carry information. Fear signals risk. Anger signals boundaries. Sadness signals loss. The problem begins when emotions take command of behavior without evaluation. Stoic wisdom teaches that there is always a gap between feeling and response. That gap may be small, but it exists. Training emotional control means learning how to enter that gap consistently. The first step is recognizing early signals. Emotions do not appear suddenly at full intensity. They build tightness in the chest, shallow breathing, clenched jaw, rapid thoughts. These physical signs are warnings. When noticed early, they can be managed more easily. Ignored, they grow louder. Begin paying attention to the body during stress. The body often speaks before the mind understands. Breathing is the fastest way to influence emotional state. Slow, controlled breathing sends a signal of safety to the nervous system, When pressure rises, lengthen the exhale. Breathe in calmly through the nose and release slowly. This simple act reduces physiological arousal and restores mental clarity. Practice this daily during calm moments so it becomes automatic under pressure. Emotional control also depends on interpretation. Pressure itself is neutral. The meaning assigned to it creates distress or focus. When the mind interprets pressure as danger, emotions escalate. When pressure is interpreted as responsibility or challenge, energy is directed more constructively. Train the mind to ask one grounding question in stressful moments: what is required right now? This question redirects attention from emotion to action. Another powerful practice is delaying reaction. Immediate response is often regretful. Pausing creates choice. When emotion rises, delay speaking or acting for a few breaths. This delay interrupts impulsive patterns. Over time, the pause becomes natural. Calm replaces urgency. Self-talk under pressure shapes emotional intensity. Harsh internal language increases stress. Clear neutral language stabilizes the mind. Replace statements like "this is a disaster" with "this is difficult and manageable." The goal is accuracy, not comfort. Accurate language reduces emotional distortion. Preparation strengthens emotional control. Pressure feels overwhelming when the mind feels unprepared. Rehearse responses mentally. Visualize difficult conversations. Anticipate challenges. Preparation reduces surprise and improves confidence. This practice builds familiarity with stress, making it less threatening. Values provide an anchor during pressure. When emotions run high, values guide behavior. Decide in advance what matters most: integrity, respect, effort. When pressure hits, return to these principles. Acting according to values reduces regret and builds inner strength. Emotional control improves when expectations are realistic. Unrealistic expectations create constant frustration. Accept that mistakes and discomfort are part of growth. Acceptance reduces resistance. Resistance intensifies emotion. Physical state influences emotional response. Lack of sleep, hunger, or dehydration lowers tolerance. Caring for the body supports emotional regulation. Simple habits protect stability. Avoiding pressure weakens emotional control. Exposure strengthens it. Gradually place yourself in challenging situations. Practice calm responses. This builds confidence through experience. Reflection after pressure moments is essential. Review calmly. What triggered the emotion? How did you respond? What could be improved next time? This reflection turns experience into training. Compassion toward yourself matters. Emotional control is not perfection. Losing composure occasionally does not erase progress. Learn and move forward. Silence can be a powerful response. Not every emotion requires expression. Choosing silence preserves control and prevents escalation. Emotional control also involves choosing perspective. Many pressure moments feel larger than they are. Step back mentally. Ask whether this moment will matter in the long term. This reduces intensity. Training emotional control creates stability. Others can feel calm presence builds trust and respect. Leadership emerges naturally. Over time, emotional control becomes a quiet strength. Pressure no longer feels like an attack. It becomes information. The mind stays clear. Actions remain deliberate. This skill protects relationships, performance, and inner peace. It allows progress without burnout. Every pressure moment is an invitation to practice. Choose calm, choose pause, choose clarity. Emotional control grows one steady response at a time. Chapter 5. Upgrade habits that support energy, clarity, and consistent progress. To make steady forward movement, energy must be reliable, clarity must be consistent, and habits must be chosen so they support both without constant effort. Changing habits is not about adding more activity to a crowded life. It is about replacing friction with practices that preserve energy, sharpen thought, and create steady momentum. Start by examining current routines carefully and identify the exact moments when energy dips, decision quality falls, or progress stalls. Name those moments precisely and record what happens before and after them for 1 week. This data becomes the basis for meaningful upgrades. Begin by prioritizing 3 pillars that sustain performance: sleep, movement, and nutrition. Treat sleep as non-negotiable and create a simple routine that signals the body it is time to rest. Reduce light exposure from screens, 1 hour before bed, and dim lighting in the room. Keep a consistent bedtime and wake time even on weekends, so the body regulates itself naturally. When sleep quality improves, mornings become clearer and the will to act becomes less scattered. Movement does not require long workouts. Short sessions of purposeful activity raise heart rate, improve circulation, and sharpen thinking. 2 or 3 focused movement breaks during the day of 10 to 20 minutes each often produce more sustainable energy than irregular long sessions. Choose activities that are enjoyable enough to repeat and specific enough to measure. Clearer thinking follows consistent movement. Nutrition affects cognitive performance directly. Replace vague diet goals with specific, actionable rules, such as include a protein source at breakfast, reduce refined sugars, and drink water on waking. Experiment with meal timing to discover what supports steady attention for you personally. Keep easy, healthy options visible and accessible, so when hunger arrives, choices support progress rather than derail it. Design micro-rituals around transitions. Transition rituals are short, repeatable actions that prepare the mind for the next activity. A 2-minute breathing routine before focused work, a quick tidy of the desk before reading, or a deliberate walk to change environment before creative tasks are examples. These tiny rituals create mental separation between tasks and reduce the friction of shifting attention. Clarity grows from regular clearing practices. Weekly planning sessions of 15 to 30 minutes are more valuable than long, irregular strategy days. Use this time to choose 3 priority outcomes for the coming week and plan the concrete actions required each day. Keep the list short and actionable. Replace vague goals with one specific, measurable next step for each outcome. This prevents plans from staying abstract and turning into mental clutter. Morning preparation matters, but it should be brief and practical. Prepare the top 2 tasks you intend to finish before interruptions arrive. Avoid attempting a long to-do list first thing. Early wins reinforce energy and focus. If mornings vary because of responsibilities, choose an anchor practice you can do anytime, such as 2 minutes of breath work, 5 minutes of reading, or writing 1 clear sentence. Small, predictable anchors stabilize the day. Reduce decision fatigue by creating default choices. Decide in advance what you will wear, what you will eat for the first meal, and when you will begin focused work. These defaults free attention for meaningful choices. Keep the number of daily decisions limited, especially around times you do your most important work. Information hygiene supports clarity. Limit passive consumption by scheduling specific times to read news or social media, and avoid multitasking while consuming media. Replace aimless scrolling with short learning sessions targeted to your goals. Curate a small list of trusted sources and rotate through them rather than sampling everything. This keeps the mind from fragmenting. Build momentum through tiny, consistent wins. Choose a habit you can perform even on your lowest energy day and do it daily. The habit should be measurable and take no more than 10 minutes the first month. Evidence of completion reinforces identity and fuels further action. Increase complexity only after the behavior is stable for several weeks. Track progress in a way that is simple and visible. A single-column checklist in a notebook, a habit app, or a calendar mark each day you complete the action. The visual trail of consistency matters more than detailed metrics. Early on, when patterns appear, analyze them and adjust without judgment. The goal is learning, not perfection. Create friction for distractions and reduce friction for productive behaviors. Put distracting apps out of reach, install website blockers during work periods, and move devices to another room. when deep work is required. At the same time, place tools for productive habits where you will encounter them easily. A book by the bedside, a journal on the kitchen table, or a water bottle at your desk converts intention into action. Batch similar tasks together to protect cognitive energy. Group administrative tasks, creative work and communication into separate blocks, and avoid switching between them rapidly. Switching costs are real and degrade clarity. When blocks are scheduled, respect them and reserve buffer time for transitions. Use sensory anchors to maintain energy and focus. Light movement, a brief cold splash of water, a short walk outside, or a 5-breath sequence can reset attention quickly. Experiment to find which sensory interventions restore energy for you and practice them regularly so they become automatic when attention drops. Rest is strategic, not optional. Incorporate short breaks throughout work and a longer restorative activity weekly. Actively schedule time to disconnect and pursue something that replenishes you, whether it is a hobby time with a friend or simply sitting quietly. Recovery maintains consistency over months and years. Language shapes perception and action. Replace vague statements about productivity with specific behavioral commitments, such as "I will complete one focused work session of 45 minutes before lunch." This removes wishful phrasing and makes accountability practical. Practice single-task focus during your most important work. Use a visible timer and commit to a block without interruption. During this time, do not answer messages, check email, or switch tasks. Train the habit of finishing one meaningful chunk. Before moving on, develop an ending ritual to close the workday. This ritual marks completion and reduces rumination during rest. It can be as simple as writing 3 things achieved that day and setting the top task for tomorrow. This practice separates work from personal time and supports better sleep and mental clarity. Periodically audit habits and remove what no longer serves you. Habits can outlive their usefulness. If a routine consumes time and yields little return, cut it and reallocate the time to higher impact practices. Be ruthless about time spent on low-value activities. Social environment influences energy and clarity. Surround yourself with people who respect routines and mimic productive behavior. Share your habits with a trusted friend for mutual accountability, and celebrate consistency rather than sporadic bursts of effort. Embrace constraints deliberately to increase creativity and focus. Limit available time for a project, set a small resource budget, or reduce options for decision-making. Constraints force clarity and prioritize essential actions. When interruptions occur, reset gently and return to the system without drama. Interruptions are inevitable. Prepare a short re-entry routine, such as 2 deep breaths and a glance at the task list, to regain focus quickly. Measure energy patterns across the week and align demanding tasks with your natural peaks. Some people have clearer mornings, others, after midday experimentation, reveals personal rhythms. Work with your pattern instead of against it. Finally, upgrade habits incrementally and respect the principle of sustainable growth. Radical change often fails because it ignores current capacity. Improve elements of sleep, movement, and nutrition first, then layer cognitive practices and organizational systems. Consistent small upgrades compound into major improvements over time. Choose one habit to upgrade this week. Make the change small, concrete, and trackable, and repeat it daily. Over the next month, add another habit only after the first is stable. This approach preserves energy, builds clarity, and produces steady, measurable progress. Chapter 6. Learn focused thinking to solve problems faster and better. Problems do not overwhelm people because they are complex. They overwhelm people because attention becomes scattered at the exact moment clarity is needed most. When the mind jumps between worries, assumptions, and imagined outcomes, it loses the ability to see what actually matters. Focused thinking is the skill of narrowing attention deliberately, so the real problem becomes visible and solvable. This skill is not reserved for intellectuals or experts. It is trained through simple habits practiced consistently. Most problems feel urgent because emotions rush ahead of facts. The first discipline of focused thinking is slowing the internal pace. Speed creates panic. Calm creates accuracy. When a problem appears, resist the urge to react immediately. Pause long enough to stabilize breathing and posture. This physical pause signals the brain to shift from emotional response to analytical mode. Clear thinking begins in the body. Focused thinking starts by defining the problem precisely. Vague problems cannot be solved. Instead of saying everything is going wrong, identify the specific issue that requires action. Ask what exactly is not working right now. Write it down in one clear sentence. If it cannot be written clearly, it is not yet understood. This single sentence becomes the anchor for attention. Next, separate facts from interpretations. Facts are observable and measurable. Interpretations are opinions, predictions, and assumptions. Many problems feel larger because interpretations are treated as facts. List only what can be verified. Remove imagined consequences and judgments. This reduces emotional load and reveals what is actually controllable. Focused thinking requires limits. Trying to solve everything at once leads to paralysis. Decide what part of the problem you will address first. Choose the smallest meaningful part that can be influenced. Now, solving one piece often reveals the next step naturally. Progress creates clarity. Time boxing improves focus. Allocate a specific amount of time to think about the problem. During that time, remove all distractions. No notifications, no interruptions. When the time ends, take action on the best available option. Endless thinking weakens confidence. Decision-making improves when time has boundaries. Questions guide focused thinking better than statements. Ask practical questions that move attention toward action. What is the simplest solution available? What resources are already present? What has worked before in similar situations? These questions shift the mind from rumination to problem solving. Avoid seeking perfect solutions. Perfection delays action. Focused thinkers aim for workable solutions that can be tested. Action provides feedback. Feedback refines. This loop is more effective than waiting for certainty. Break problems into components. Complex challenges are collections of smaller issues. Identify inputs, processes, and outputs. Examine where breakdowns occur. This structured view reduces overwhelm and reveals leverage points where small changes produce large results. Write thinking down. Mental loops drain energy. Writing externalizes thought and frees cognitive space. Use simple language. Bullet points are not required. Clarity matters more than form. Seeing thoughts on paper often reveals patterns and gaps instantly. Focused thinking improves when attention is trained daily. Practice single-task concentration during routine activities. Eat without distractions. Read without checking devices. Work on one task at a time. These habits strengthen attention control and transfer to problem-solving situations. Emotional neutrality supports focused thinking. Strong emotions narrow perception. Acknowledge emotions without letting them lead. Name them briefly and return attention to the task. This reduces their intensity. Avoid catastrophizing. The mind tends to exaggerate negative outcomes under stress. Ask what is the most likely outcome rather than the worst imagined one. This grounds thinking in reality. Seek first principles. Strip the problem down to basic elements. Ask why repeatedly until the root cause is exposed. Solutions that address root causes prevent recurrence. Focused thinking also requires knowing when to stop. Overanalysis wastes time. When sufficient information is available, choose a direction and move forward. Confidence grows through action. Feedback improves thinking speed. After acting, review results objectively. What worked? What did not? Adjust accordingly. This learning loop accelerates future problem solving. Limit information intake during problem solving. Too many opinions create noise. Select a few relevant sources and ignore the rest. Focus thrives in simplicity. Mental clarity benefits from physical order. Clear workspace supports clear thinking. Remove clutter that distracts attention. Rest supports focused thinking. Fatigue reduces cognitive precision. Short breaks restore attention and prevent errors. Focused thinking is not about intelligence. It is about discipline. Discipline in attention, discipline in language, discipline in action. Anyone can learn this skill. Practice solving small problems deliberately. This builds confidence and skill. Larger problems then feel manageable. Under pressure, return to fundamentals. Define the problem, identify facts, choose one action. Simplicity under stress is strength. Over time, focused thinking becomes habitual. Problems no longer trigger panic, they trigger curiosity and structured response. This skill saves time, energy, and emotional strain. It turns obstacles into tasks and tasks into progress. Each day offers opportunities to practice. Choose focus over distraction, clarity over noise, action over rumination. With practice, problems become faster to solve and solutions become better grounded. Chapter 7. Build resilience by responding wisely to failure and setbacks. Failure is not the opposite of progress. It is one of its most reliable teachers. What breaks people is not the setback itself, but the meaning they attach to it. Some interpret failure as proof of limitation. Others see it as information. Resilience is built by choosing the second response again and again. It is not loud or dramatic. It is steady and grounded. It shows itself in how quickly a person regains balance after being knocked off course. Setbacks trigger emotional reactions before rational thought has time to form. Disappointment, frustration, embarrassment, and doubt rise fast. These reactions are natural. Resilience does not require denying them. It requires not letting them control the next decision. The first skill is containment. When failure happens, pause before reacting outwardly or inwardly. Breathe slowly. Sit still for a moment. This pause prevents emotional spillover into actions that cause more damage. Wise response begins with separating the event from identity. A mistake is an action that did not produce the intended result. It is not a statement about worth, intelligence, or future potential. When identity becomes tied to outcomes, resilience collapses. Train the mind to speak accurately. Say this attempt failed rather than I failed. This shift protects confidence while preserving responsibility. Resilient people analyze setbacks without drama. They ask clear questions. What exactly happened? What factors were within control? What factors were not? This analysis must be honest but calm. Blame distorts learning. Excuses delay growth. Balanced evaluation reveals useful lessons. Avoid the urge to rush recovery. Some setbacks require time to process. Forcing optimism too quickly leads to suppression rather than resilience. Allow space for disappointment without dwelling. Set a boundary for reflection, and then move forward deliberately. Perspective matters during recovery. Most failures feel larger in the moment than they will later. Remind yourself that this is one point in a longer journey. The ability to zoom out reduces emotional intensity and restores judgment. Resilience strengthens when expectations are realistic. Progress is uneven by nature. Anticipating occasional setbacks reduces shock when they occur. Preparation does not remove pain, but it prevents paralysis. Another key is responsibility without self-punishment. Own mistakes fully and correct them. Do not attack yourself. Self-punishment drains energy and clouds thinking. Correction builds capability. Resilient response includes choosing the next right action quickly. Waiting for motivation delays recovery. Action rebuilds confidence. Choose a small constructive step and complete it. This signals the nervous system that progress continues. Language during setbacks shapes recovery speed. Avoid absolute statements. Replace never and always with specific descriptions. Precision restores control. Social comparison during failure is damaging. Others progress at different rates under different conditions. Focus inward. Compare current behavior to past behavior, not to other people. Physical state affects resilience. Fatigue amplifies emotional pain. Rest, eat, hydrate, and move gently after a setback. Caring for the body supports emotional recovery. Resilience also depends on values. When actions align with values, setbacks lose power. Ask whether effort was honest and disciplined. If so, outcome matters less. Avoid revisiting the same failure repeatedly. Once lessons are extracted, close the file. Rumination masquerades as reflection, but produces no new insight. Build resilience proactively. By exposing yourself to controlled difficulty, practice tasks slightly beyond comfort. Learn to stay composed under manageable stress. This builds confidence for larger challenges. Accept uncertainty. Not all outcomes can be predicted or controlled. Resilience grows when uncertainty is tolerated without anxiety. Forgiveness plays a role. Forgive yourself quickly and sincerely. Holding grudges against yourself slows progress. Develop rituals for recovery. A walk, writing a brief reflection, or resetting the workspace signals transition from setback to action. Rituals provide structure when emotions are unsettled. Resilience also includes asking for help wisely. Seeking guidance is not weakness. It accelerates learning and reduces isolation. Measure resilience, not by absence of failure, but by speed of recovery. How fast do you return to effort? This metric matters. Over time, repeated wise responses create emotional strength. Setbacks lose their power to derail progress. Confidence becomes quieter and more stable. Resilience is a daily practice. Each response trains the next. Choose calm analysis over reaction. Choose learning over judgment. Choose action over withdrawal. Failure will continue to appear. When it does, meet it with steadiness, respond wisely, move forward. This is how resilience is built and how progress survives adversity. Chapter 8. Use daily reflection to adjust actions and improve results. Progress does not come from effort alone. It comes from effort guided by awareness. Many people work hard for years yet repeat the same mistakes because they never pause long enough to study their own behavior. Daily reflection is the practice that turns experience into improvement. Without it, days blur together and lessons are lost. With it, even ordinary days become sources of insight and direction. Reflection is not overthinking. It is structured honesty. It is the calm review of actions, choices, and reactions with the intent to improve tomorrow. Stoic thinkers treated reflection as a daily duty because they understood that unexamined behavior repeats itself. When actions are reviewed regularly, they can be adjusted before problems grow large. The purpose of daily reflection is not judgment. Judgment creates defensiveness and avoidance. The purpose is clarity. Clarity reveals patterns. Patterns reveal leverage points where small changes produce better results. Reflection works best when it is brief, consistent, and focused on behavior rather than personality. Choose a fixed time for reflection. Evening works well because the day is complete and the mind can observe it as a whole. Keep the practice short. 10 minutes is enough. Consistency matters more than length. Sit quietly with a notebook or device and begin with simple questions. Ask what actions moved life forward today. Be specific. Identify exact behaviors, not vague impressions. Writing them down reinforces awareness. This builds confidence based on evidence rather than emotion. Next, ask what actions reduced effectiveness. Again, focus on behavior. Avoid explanations or excuses. Simply name what happened. This honesty is essential. Growth requires accurate data. Then ask what can be adjusted tomorrow. Choose one small change. Reflection becomes powerful when it leads directly to action. Large plans are unnecessary. One adjustment repeated consistently compounds. Avoid replaying conversations or events emotionally. That is rumination, not reflection. When emotions arise, acknowledge them briefly and return to facts. What was said, what was done, what outcome followed. Reflection also includes noticing emotional patterns. Identify moments when emotions influence decisions. Understanding triggers improves self-control. Write down the trigger and the response. Over time, patterns become clear. Celebrate effort, not outcomes. Recognize moments when discipline was maintained, even if results were imperfect. This reinforces resilience and consistency. Reflection improves decision-making. Reviewing choices reveals biases and habits. Awareness reduces future errors. Do not use reflection to rewrite the past. The past cannot be changed. Use it to inform the future. End each session by choosing a clear intention for the next day. Reflection benefits from simplicity. Avoid long narratives. Short sentences sharpen insight. Ask questions that invite learning. What surprised me today? What did I avoid? What drained energy? What restored it? These questions guide adjustment. Write honestly. The notebook is private. Honesty accelerates growth. Reflection also improves gratitude. Noticing small wins balances perspective. This stabilizes mood and motivation. Daily reflection trains responsibility. When behavior is reviewed, regularly excuses lose power. Responsibility increases naturally. Avoid skipping reflection after difficult days. Those days contain valuable lessons. Skipping reinforces avoidance. If time is limited, reduce reflection to 3 sentences. One about progress, one about challenge, one about adjustment. Weekly review builds on daily reflection. Scan entries and identify trends. This informs larger adjustments. Reflection supports focus. Reviewing distractions highlights patterns. Adjust environment or routines accordingly. Over time, reflection strengthens self-trust. You learn that mistakes are addressed, not ignored. Reflection also reduces anxiety. Problems are processed instead of carried into sleep. End reflection calmly. Do not rush into stimulation. Allow the mind to settle. This practice turns life into a feedback system. Actions produce results. Results inform adjustments. Adjustments improve actions. Daily reflection is quiet but powerful. It requires no tools beyond honesty and attention. When practiced consistently, it sharpens judgment, strengthens discipline, and improves results. Each day becomes a lesson rather than a blur. This is how improvement stays steady and intentional. Choose to reflect tonight. Write simply, adjust tomorrow, repeat. Growth follows awareness. Chapter 9. Commit to learning skills that expand confidence and capability. Growth comes from action, but confidence comes from skill. Capability expands when effort is directed at learning, practicing, and mastering meaningful skills. People often wait to feel ready before pursuing development, yet readiness is built by doing. Commitment to learning is the foundation for both competence and self-assurance. Every skill learned becomes evidence of capability. Every mastery moment reinforces belief in oneself, and every challenge met strengthens resilience. Begin by choosing skills that align with goals and personal values. Skills should enhance daily effectiveness, expand opportunity, or increase independence. Learning a skill that matters builds motivation naturally. If the skill does not move life forward in a tangible way, effort may fade. Make a deliberate list of skills that, once acquired, will improve performance or personal influence. Rank them by impact and feasibility. Start with one skill at a time. Approach learning with structured consistency. Small repeated efforts outperform occasional bursts of intense practice. Dedicate focused time daily to practice. Even 15 to 30 minutes of concentrated effort can produce significant results over weeks and months. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum creates confidence. Skills acquired gradually under repeated practice become permanent rather than superficial. Break skills into manageable components. Master one element at a time rather than attempting the entire complex process at once. This reduces overwhelm and allows measurable progress. Focus on the foundational elements first, then layer more advanced components. Each small mastery provides tangible reinforcement of capability. This approach ensures skill development is reliable and enduring. Active practice is essential. Passive learning such as reading or watching tutorials is useful, but insufficient. Engage with the material through application immediately. Perform tasks, experiment, make mistakes, and adjust. Learning by doing accelerates retention and builds practical competence. Each failure during practice is not a setback, but a valuable signal for improvement. Deliberate feedback strengthens skill acquisition. Seek input from mentors, peers, or objective measures of performance. Accurate feedback allows correction before mistakes solidify into habit. Reflection on feedback transforms effort into learning. Avoid interpreting feedback as criticism. Treat it as information to refine skill. Focus enhances learning speed. Eliminate distractions during practice sessions. Deep concentration allows the brain to encode new patterns more efficiently. Short, uninterrupted periods of focused effort are more effective than long, distracted hours. Train attention gradually through single-task practice until sustained focus becomes natural. Challenge strengthens confidence. Push slightly beyond current ability. Skills develop most effectively when effort stretches capacity without causing discouragement. Incremental difficulty builds adaptability and resilience. Confidence grows because the individual repeatedly succeeds at increasingly complex challenges. Each challenge reinforces the belief that new skills can be mastered with effort. Integrate skills into daily life immediately. Practical application solidifies learning and demonstrates real-world value. If a skill remains theoretical, confidence remains fragile. Use skills in tasks, projects, or situations where they produce observable outcomes. The mind internalizes mastery more quickly when skills affect results tangibly. Commitment requires prioritization. Limit learning efforts to a few essential skills at a time. Avoid overloading attention and energy. Depth produces competence. Breadth produces superficiality. Focused commitment allows faster progress and stronger self-assurance. Over time, these skills combine to create a broad foundation of capability. Document progress, recording achievements, challenges overcome, and improvements made reinforces confidence. It creates a visible trail of growth and provides evidence of what consistent effort produces. Reviewing this record during low motivation periods reaffirms the value of practice and encourages perseverance. Resilience in learning is necessary. Mistakes, slow progress, or temporary frustration are natural. View these moments as part of the process rather than signals of inadequacy. Resilient learners persist, adjust strategies, and continue practicing despite discomfort. This attitude strengthens both skill and confidence simultaneously. Learning environments influence outcomes. Choose surroundings that minimize distraction and provide access to resources. Engage with communities that support growth and share knowledge. Collaboration and observation of skilled individuals accelerate learning and inspire higher standards of performance. Mental framing affects persistence. Treat each practice session as an investment in capability, not as a test of innate ability. Focus on effort and improvement rather than immediate perfection. This mindset fosters patience and long-term growth while reducing the fear of failure that often inhibits learning. Curiosity sustains learning. Approach each skill with questions, experimentation, and exploration. Curiosity keeps engagement high, improves retention, and expands creative problem-solving abilities. A curious mindset turns challenges into opportunities and maintains enthusiasm even during difficult learning periods. Time management ensures regular skill practice. Integrate learning into fixed routines rather than waiting for spare time. Protect practice blocks from interruptions and treat them as non-negotiable. Regularity transforms learning from occasional effort into habitual competence. Over months, this consistency produces mastery and measurable confidence. Celebrate milestones. Recognize and acknowledge incremental progress. Celebrating effort reinforces commitment and signals that advancement is possible. Avoid focusing solely on final mastery. Small achievements compound into significant growth over time. Reflection complements practice. After each session, review what was learned, what was challenging, and what adjustment is needed next. Reflection turns repetition into insight and ensures continuous improvement. Over time, this cycle accelerates mastery and deepens capability. Apply skills whenever possible. Learning one skill often enhances others indirectly. For example, improving communication sharpens persuasion. Learning strategy strengthens problem-solving, and mastering focus enhances multiple areas of performance. Recognize these overlaps to maximize the value of each skill learned. Commitment to skill development produces long-term confidence. Confidence is no longer based on circumstance, mood, or external approval. It is built on repeated evidence of capability. Each new skill adds another layer of assurance that challenges can be met and goals achieved. Mastery requires patience. Avoid shortcuts or the temptation to rush learning. Steady, disciplined practice produces enduring ability. Each repetition solidifies competence in both mind and body, ensuring skills are usable under pressure. Immediate results are rare. Long-term accumulation is reliable. Continuous learning strengthens identity. A person who commits to growth begins to see themselves as capable, adaptable, and resilient. This internal identity reinforces persistence, encourages further development, and attracts opportunities that demand higher competence. Set a lifetime perspective. Skill acquisition is ongoing. There is always room to improve, expand, and refine. Treat each skill as a step in an upward path rather than a final destination. This perspective maintains motivation and supports sustained capability and confidence. Commit to learning, practice deliberately, integrate feedback, reflect consistently, and apply skills. Each step expands competence, strengthens confidence, and transforms potential into measurable ability. Daily commitment compounds into mastery, producing a foundation of capability that supports all goals. Chapter 10. Take consistent action to turn vision into measurable outcomes. Vision without action remains imagination. A clear idea of what you want is valuable only when it is translated into consistent steps that produce tangible outcomes. Many people dream, plan, and analyze endlessly yet fail to move forward because action is delayed, sporadic, or inconsistent. Turning vision into measurable results requires commitment, clarity, and persistence. It is a process that combines purpose with repeated, deliberate effort, begun by breaking vision into concrete goals. A vision is often abstract, a statement of possibility. Goals give it form and focus. Define exactly what success looks like in measurable terms. Avoid vague outcomes. Specify numbers, deadlines, or observable indicators. For instance, if the vision is financial independence, define a target amount, a timeline, and the actions required to move toward it. Clear goals transform ambition into actionable reality. Next, identify the small steps that connect daily effort to long-term goals. Large objectives can feel overwhelming without intermediate actions. Each step should be realistic, achievable, and directly aligned with the desired outcome. Daily progress is built through repeated completion of these small, manageable actions. These micro-steps compound into significant movement toward the overarching vision. Consistency is the engine of transformation. One completed task occasionally will not produce lasting results. Momentum develops through repeated execution, not perfection. Committing to daily, weekly, and monthly actions ensures that progress continues even when motivation wanes. Establish routines and schedules that protect time for these actions. Treat them as non-negotiable commitments to yourself. Prioritize actions based on impact. Not all activities contribute equally to progress. Identify tasks that move the needle most directly toward the outcome. Focus attention and energy on these high-leverage actions. Minimize time spent on low-impact activities that consume energy without meaningful return. Disciplined focus on essential actions accelerates results and reduces wasted effort. Track outcomes meticulously. Measuring progress transforms abstract vision into real evidence of achievement. Keep records of actions taken, results produced, and milestones reached. Review these regularly to adjust strategies, reinforce accountability, and maintain motivation. Data-driven reflection ensures that effort is directed effectively rather than scattered randomly. Adaptation is necessary during execution. Rarely do plans unfold exactly as imagined. Monitor results continuously, identify deviations, and adjust steps without delay. Flexibility within a consistent framework allows progress to continue despite unforeseen challenges. Consistent action does not mean rigid repetition. It means persistent movement with intelligent correction. Break inertia by starting immediately. Waiting for perfect conditions or complete readiness delays outcomes. Action itself generates clarity, energy, and momentum. Begin with what is possible today, no matter how small. Completing even modest steps strengthens confidence and catalyzes further progress. Accountability reinforces consistency. Share commitments with a trusted peer, mentor, or system that monitors progress. External accountability supports internal discipline. The knowledge that someone else observes your effort increases follow-through and reduces the tendency to procrastinate. Eliminate excuses by simplifying processes. Reduce friction between intention and execution. Prepare materials, tools, and environments so that starting is effortless. Remove distractions that interrupt attention and fragment effort. Consistent action thrives when resistance is minimized and readiness is maximized. Celebrate incremental achievements to maintain motivation. Recognize small wins along the way to the larger goal. Each milestone confirms that actions produce results, reinforcing belief in the vision and the capacity to achieve it. Gratitude for progress fuels persistence and sustains energy over long timelines. Focus attention during execution. Multitasking dilutes results. Single task completion allows mastery and measurable impact. Treat each action as a complete unit of work. Completion reinforces discipline and accumulates visible outcomes. Use time strategically. Identify periods of highest energy and concentration and allocate them to the most critical tasks. Guard these periods rigorously. Time alignment with performance maximizes efficiency and enhances results. Anticipate obstacles and plan for them. Predict common challenges and design preemptive solutions. Preparedness reduces the likelihood of interruptions derailing progress. When setbacks occur, return to the consistent process without losing momentum. Evaluate outcomes not just qualitatively, but quantitatively. Ask whether each step moved the vision forward measurably. If not, adjust approach. Focus on results rather than effort alone. Hard data clarifies what works and what requires change. Integrate feedback loops into action. Observe results, solicit advice, and apply corrections immediately. Iterative improvement ensures that every cycle of action is more effective than the last. Learning is embedded within doing, accelerating progress. Sustain energy for long-term action through self-care. Consistent effort requires mental and physical capacity. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and brief restorative pauses protect stamina. Overextension leads to burnout and erodes continuity. Build resilience to maintain momentum over extended periods. Visualization strengthens execution. Mentally rehearse actions, steps, and processes. This prepares the mind to execute effectively and reinforces clarity about the pathway from vision to outcome. Visualization coupled with action amplifies results. Break tasks into measurable subcomponents and monitor completion rates. Clear indicators of progress prevent drift and maintain motivation. Small victories are visible and tangible, creating a chain reaction that sustains action until the larger goal is achieved. Discipline in communication supports outcome-oriented action. Share intentions and deadlines with collaborators or stakeholders. Clear articulation reinforces commitment and ensures alignment. Accountability and clarity in communication reduce missteps and keep work focused. Avoid overcomplicating processes. Action is effective when simple, direct, and consistent. Complexity delays execution, increases errors, and diminishes measurable outcomes. Streamline steps, remove unnecessary procedures, and prioritize what directly produces results. Review and adjust regularly. Daily and weekly evaluation of actions ensures alignment with goals. Identify what produces meaningful results and what does not. Reinforce productive behaviors, eliminate unproductive ones, and continuously refine the approach. Sustain momentum by linking actions to identity. See yourself as the type of person who consistently acts toward important outcomes. Identity Driven behavior reduces negotiation with self, making persistence easier and more automatic. Ultimately, consistent action turns abstract vision into reality. Every repeated step, adjustment, and evaluation compounds into measurable progress. Vision becomes tangible when effort is persistent, deliberate, and structured. Measurable outcomes arise from dedication, focus, and an unbroken chain of purposeful action. Results are not accidental. They are the direct product of clarity, planning, and relentless execution.